Yeah, g'day YouTubers. Tinker O'Toole again with another video. Today we're going to make a little bit of an aluminium ball, this type of shape. This is a radius cutting tool. So this one really helps start the process. So you mount it in the tool holder and you move this around to cut a radius. Plus you've got to use other high-speed steel bits to try and create. You can use this tool to create this radius here, but you can use other tools to create this radius inside. It's a little bit fiddly to use this tool to try and do that inside and get that like that. I actually like this shape than the round ball, so that's what we're going to do. So the first step that you need to do is that we just need to put a bit of bar stock that's in the lathe. We're going to put a center drill in there. We're going to drill it and tap it about 10 mil deep. So that's the first step that you need to do. Okay, so we drilled and tapped 6 mil thread in there, about 10 mil long. And I've got these adapter bars that I made up. 6 mil, 8 mil and 10 mil. The reason I've done that is because we're going to cut this off at about 18 millimeters, right? And we're going to screw that onto this bar here, and that'll give it a lot more support when turning in the lathe. So we'll cut a piece off, screw it on there, and that's where we start to work on it. So we'll get the bar stock out of the lathe. I've only got a 12 millimeter diameter at the moment, so that's why I'm only making very small balls. So all drilled and tapped. We'll cut that off and we'll continue. So we just cut that off with the saw. So what we can do now is screw this on to the tool holder that I made. And you'll notice that I've got a washer here for support. That's just now the other thing is I'm going to make a 12 millimeter ball. So I got this 18 mil in length. Now all I need to do is put that in the lathe and face that off. So that's pretty straightforward. I find that this little adapter tool that I made really works good. The whole thing is look, if you've got a lathe, you'll be surprised of the little tools that you can make. Always make sure that your tool, your cutting tool is set at the center line. That way you don't get a little nipple or a pip. Beautiful. Okay. So that's been faced off. The next thing that we need to set up here is this jig here. You'll notice I scribed a center line down the bottom, because if we're doing a diameter of 12 millimeters, we need to set this tool in here. This high-speed steel here has to be set 6 millimeters away from the center line. So when we move it, we get the radius. So all I've got to do now is set that up, and then we'll continue on. So the next thing that you do, we set this where the center line is there, around about 6 millimeters back. So the point of the tip should be about 6 millimeters back from the center line, which is where it is. So I bring the high-speed steel tip touching the face. I look down vertical, right, and make sure that this G-clamp, or this C-shape, is right in the middle of the bar stock, right? So it's right in the middle. So that's lined up. Now, I need to bring that around and just slowly wind this out and bring that dead straight and wind in the slide so that the the high-speed steel tip just touches, back it off a couple of thou. That's your starting position. Next, just put the oil on, right? So that's loose, it's got clearance, right? So we're going to start pushing this side very slowly. And it should line up with the end, and we should have our basic shape with the ball diameter being around 12 millimeters. Just putting a light bit of pressure. You can see all the aluminium bits coming off. Once this lever ends up straight in the same direction as the bit. Okay, so that's it. Now, I'm just going to move it to this side. That is the basic shape we need. So we start with this shape here, right? That's the shape that we're starting off with. Because what I want to do now is put in some high-speed steel tooling and go right in here and probably leave this parallel section about a millimetre or 2 millimetres wide. We're not going to touch that surface yet, because once we got the basic shape, we've got the nice radius on there, we're going to dress it up with a file, and that'll come up $1 million. So it's a step-by-step procedure now. So what we need to do is to put in high-speed steel with a fairly large radius on it. So we'll show you that, and we'll set that up. Okay, so this is the bit that we're going to use, the high-speed steel bit. And what I want to do is really get in there, right? I want to get in there. Then I'm going to swap over the tooling to this piece here so that we can really get in there. So that's what I need to do, because the shape that I need to make is use the high-speed steel radius tool to get into here to try and get this shape here and feather it down. So that's the whole idea of using this tool in here. Get in there and feather it down. And I do have a smaller one on the other end with a much smaller radius, so I can use that as well. That's that bit there. Okay, so now we need to get in there and do a bit of shaping. Okay, so there's the finished product. Now, look, I skipped a lot of things in the video because it's very time consuming making something like this, because you're going to need some files, right? Large file. This file's got a little bit of a curve on it like that, so that works okay. In this part here, I used high-speed steel, and we'll just get that out. We'll show you that. So look, there's a lot of mucking around to get it, but that was okay. So you can see the radius that I've got on here, and I used it in here. And then after that, I used another small piece that's got a slight radius on it to get right in there. And to finish it off, I actually got another piece of high-speed steel that I could get in there and face off. Well, there it is there, actually. It's in the actual holder. So there's the other small bit with a smaller radius on it, and I use the other bit of high-speed steel here to get right into that corner, right in that corner. Now, I used wet and dry with oil, and then shrunk it down. What I'm going to actually do, if you screw it off, it'll screw off the mandrel. So there it is there. I'm going to polish that up on the buff. It come up all right. That's not too bad. So there it is on the shaft. I reckon that looks bloody brilliant. We'll put the other one on there and you be the judge. There's the other one. And as I say, the original one, there's the original one. There's the one I made. So, if you're a hobbyist, without me going into a lot of detail on there, you should be able to actually do that. And you can see clearly, I'll use the tool that I used. So this was the tool that I used, and if I screw that back on, I can use that to buff it up on the buff and get a really high mirror finish on that. And that's the reason I made these, so that you can hold these pieces. So this one's probably the hardest to make because it's only a 1/4 inch thread. The next ones aren't too bad. But look, it is very time consuming. You wouldn't want to make them for anyone because you won't make any money. You'll go broke. But nonetheless, it can be done. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye for now.